Fragile. It must be from Italy. Oh, I know how to pronounce it. All right, let's do this in fast motion. Whew. This thing smells like Teen Spirit. Did you ever think about that? The Nirvana song, Teen Spirit? What the hell was he talking about? What smells like Teen Spirit? Okay, we got this Devil Red porcelain dog made in Germany. And, let's, actually, yeah, we'll put him on this. And, yeah, all right. So who was he made by? All right, we're going to look over the clues. This is Flambé. Flambé Art Deco perfume lamp. But guess what? It's missing. Well, it has glass eyes, by the way. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that. Look at the beautiful glass eyes. Look, he's a bulldog. And he has markings on the bottom. And we see here, it has a 10, a number 10. Mold number 256 is marked on the bottom in some kind of pen. And then he has the wide Goebel crown. And this was used, I think, from 1935 to 1939. So we know that he was made between those time frames. Really quite cool. But he's missing the damn light fixture. And he needs to be cleaned. So we're going to try to do a restoration today. Will we get him to light up just like he did in the 1930s? You will find out along with me. So first things first, I'm not a professional restorationist, but I got LED light because we don't want the porcelain to get hot inside like it used to back in the day, because this is 1930s. We don't want to damage 1930s and have it crack or chip. All right, so we get an SPT1 clip-in light. On Amazon, we have vampire plugs. What I mean by that, it's a zip cord or a clip-in cord. It's actually, you cut the plug off because you're going to have to feed it into the hole in the side of the lamp, and you're going to have to put a whole new plug on it. All right, so we can do that with this right there. All right, things first is I want to make it professional, so I got a rubber Firewall electrician's grommet pack, all different sizes, and it'll give the cord the finished off look. I want to cut my cord, and I want to actually wire it inside the actual dog, and then we're going to add the plug on later after we cut it off. Clip-in light holds up to 40 watts incandescent bulb. It doesn't always fit. This is more for blow molds. So you're going to have to sometimes retrofit this to actually stay inside your dog. But this is where this little rubber grommet, actually it'll hold the cord and stop it from moving around. It might help you to position your cord and your light directly inside where you want it to. So we're going to cut the cord. And a lot of you are probably like hitting the back button on this because you don't even plan on doing this. But this is for people that actually want to learn. And I'm going to cut my cord with wire cutters, 6-inch wire cutters. And now we can get this inside the lamp. So what you're going to need to do, of course, is place this on the inside, because your socket for the light bulb is going to be on the inside. So we want to place this from the inside, and we want to get this inside here. Sometimes you have to remove the rubber grommet and actually place it on the wire and then push it through. Now you have a very clean looking plug. It does not look like an amateur job. You have the rubber grommet. You have everything done. Now you need to find a bulb. What I recommend. Now, generally, these would have originally had anywhere between 10 and 20 watt equivalent bulbs of today. Don't get the nightlight ones. The nightlight ones on Amazon are usually half of a watt of LED, which is equivalent to about 5 to 7 watts. The nightlight might be too dim for this thing. You can actually get a 10 watt, which is equivalent 1.5 watt LED. By the way, E12 socket. But you're going to have to also keep in mind of the height of your figure. So if your bulb is very high, it might actually not be good because it'll reach the very top of your figure. So keep that in mind. Sometimes a C7 Candelabra bulb is enough profile for this. Not an Edison, which is long and skinny and tall. So keep in mind the different wattages. Also, you can get equivalent to 20 watts light bulb, which would be 2 watt LED. And make sure it's LED. And if you want it dimmable, you can get a 40 watt equivalent LED, which is, I believe, 4 watts. And you can get an actual extension cord that actually plugs this lamp into the extension cord and the extension cord into the wall with a dimmer switch. This does not have a dimmer switch or an on-off rocker on the plug. Just beware of that. And if you're looking for links, they'll be on my YouTube video and another video, which I'll link you guys up to. If you're on TikTok, sorry, I can't give you any links. Follow me on YouTube at Futures Past 1. Remember, on YouTube at Futures Past 1. And you will find my other how to rewire a vintage or Art Deco porcelain lamp. For comparison, this is a 50 lumen. By the way, don't look for white daylight. Look for actually warm light or amber, because it'll mimic an old glow. All right, so this is equivalent to 10 watts. It's just a little higher than a night light, and it's 50 lumens. Now I have a 200 lumen version, which is 15 to 20 watt in the actually warm light color, which will give it a warm amber glow. First, we're going to try this one, the less lumen one. So here's my 50 lumen equivalent to 10 watt bulb. And if you want more intensity, you can go with the 200 lumen, 15 to 20 watt. We're going to try that and see if I like that glow better. All right, the 200 lumen, 15 equivalent to 20 watt is a clear winner here. All right, so going with the 200 lumen bulb, which is equivalent to about 2 watts, was better than the 50 lumens going at 1.5 watts, which is equivalent to 10 watts. This one is equivalent to about 15 to 20 watts, which is closest to the old-fashioned. This one I think is a 2700K warm light bulb. The other one was a 2200 warm light bulb, which is more amber, which is actually, you want like actually the yellower you can get, not white. All right, because white is blue. It adds blue light. But look at him. All right, so here he is. Look how cool he is. He's beautifully wired now. Now he's back to his 1930s original splendor. It is still daylight out, so it's very hard to show the beauty of this lamp. Look at this. We got our 1930s Bulldog lit up. It cost me about $7 for the plug. Well, the grommets were like $11, but I reused them. And the bulbs weren't cheap. They were like $9.99 for, I think it was a 4-pack. Yeah, like $9.99 for a 4-pack. It adds up. You know, it adds up fixing these lamps. Here's the back side of him. And we'll turn him this way. Actually, my plug. Okay, there we go. All right, so there he is from the side view. We can see the really cool perfume receptacle in the back with the holes in the top of the head. And here it's very safe. I put a little electrical tape to anchor I'm going to come up with a better, a more streamlined look and design for how to hold that bulb in there, aimed up into the head. But for now, we're just going to use electrical tape, which is safe. And this one is Avery brand, general purpose electrical tape. It doesn't leave adhesive mess like the 3M33. And I was going to use museum putty, which I might do, and it'll be invisible. And nobody will be able to see it. But really, isn't he cool? I really love him. Let's ask AI more questions about him, because he's very rare, and I'll tell you why. His color. His color is very, very rare. It makes him extremely rare, because in this color, they came out with natural color bulldogs. You know, the normal fawn-colored bulldog, the white with the brown, but the red ones are something else. Flambé, I believe they call it, or ox blood. There's another fancy term for it. It was very hard to make these, and we'll ask AI how hard it was to make them in red and why they're so rare. I turned the overhead lamp on right now. So again, he still glows during the daylight, which is actually cool. Look at his teeth. Look, Goebel really spared no expense at making this beautiful, beautiful perfume lamp, which were useless. It was like equivalent to a Glade plug-in these days. They swore that it was going to clear the air of cigar and cigarette smoke, but you can imagine something this small isn't going to really take care of much real estate inside your whole entire house if you're a heavy smoker. And again, we have the wide crown mark on the bottom, which is telling us this is a really old one, not a 1950s, later reissue, post-World War II version.
Hello to all the viewers on TikTok and YouTube. Welcome back to another incredible deep dive into the world of high-end antiques with futures past. Today, we are looking at an absolute showstopper that bridges the gap between functional household items and fine art deco sculpture. What you see here, glowing with that intense, fiery radiance, is a Goebel Porcelain Bulldog perfume lamp in the incredibly sought-after red Flambé glaze. The legend of the Oxenblut glaze. For my fans and watchers who love the technical side of ceramics, this isn't just a red dog, this is a masterpiece of chemistry. This specific finish is known in Germany as Oxenblut, oxblood, or red Flambé. In the 1930s, achieving this specific hue was a high-stakes gamble for the Goebel artisans. To get that rich mottled depth, the porcelain had to be fired in the reducing atmosphere, where oxygen is restricted in the kiln. If the temperature fluctuated by even a few degrees, or if the oxygen levels weren't perfect, the entire batch could be ruined. This makes every surviving Flambé piece a, quote, survivor of a very difficult process. Identifying the marks, looking closely at the base of this piece, as seen in the provided photos, we can confirm its prestigious pedigree. The blue crown mark, TMK1. This is the holy grail for Goebel collectors. The wide-arched crown mark dates this piece firmly to the mid-1930s, circa 1935 to 1937. The grease marker, 256. This handwritten number is a factory production or mold identifier, typical of the era's inventory system. The 10 and R incised marks. These denote the mold size and likely the specific finisher or kiln master responsible for the piece. The glass eyes. Unlike later, cheaper reproductions with painted eyes, this bulldog features the high-end inset glass eyes that glow with an eerie, lifelike intensity when the internal bulb is lit. Historical context and function. In the 1930s, these weren't just dog lamps. They were perfume lamps, or Rauchverzehr in German. The top of the bulldog's head features small ventilation holes. The idea was to place a few drops of scented oil or perfume into a small reservoir inside. As the light bulb heated the porcelain, the scent would be diffused throughout the room to mask the smell of evening cigars or coal heating. High-end retail value. For those of you looking at the investment side of the antique market, this is a holy grail find for canine-themed Goebel collectors. Purchase price, $40. Current market condition, the red Flambé is significantly rarer than the standard brown or brindle versions. By restoring its function safely, the value of this piece has skyrocketed, as it now glows like a red-hot ember, perfectly showcasing the depth of its legendary glaze. The high-end retail value. Because of this successful restoration and the rarity of the finish, the high-end retail value for this specific Goebel lamp is currently $450 to $600. Why this piece is a survivor? You are looking at a miracle of 1930s ceramic engineering. This oxblood glaze required a reducing atmosphere in the kiln, meaning oxygen had to be strictly limited. The failure rate. Most of these pieces never made it to market. If even a tiny amount of excess oxygen entered the kiln, the brilliant crimson would chemically react and turn a muddy, burnt black. Precision firing. The porcelain had to be fired at exactly 1,300 degrees Celsius, 2,372 to the power of circ F. Because the process was so volatile and the loss rate was so high, Goebel only produced this experimental Flambé line for a very short window, dating the masterpiece. Based on the blue crown mark, TMK1, on the base, this Bulldog was precisely crafted between 1935 and 1937. Finding one today that survived the kiln without turning black, and has now been safely brought back to life, is a true futures past triumph. Seeing it today is like looking at a piece of candy corn Halloween meets Art Deco. Its streamlined, almost futuristic silhouette proves that great design from a century ago still feels fresh and bold today. Finding a genuine Goebel piece like this for only $40 is the ultimate collector's jackpot. Its high-end retail value might be significant, but its value as a centerpiece in a personal collection is priceless. A message to the viewers, fans, and subscribers, to everyone watching on TikTok and YouTube, thank you so much for joining Futures Past on this restoration journey. It has been such a joy to bring this rare German treasure back to life. From the careful rewiring to that first moment it lit up like a red-hot flame. Your support and shared passion for these historical pieces are what make these unboxings and restorations so special. If you enjoyed seeing this 1930s beauty glow again, please hit that thumbs up button, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss the next piece of history we uncover. Whether it's a rare find or a complex restoration, I can't wait to share the next discovery with all of you. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all on the next unboxing.